This is the way.
The Mandalorian Season 2 is upon us. It is near, and next week, Friday the 30th of October, we will get into Season 2 of The Mandalorian. But today we're going to talk about Season 1 of The Mandalorian, Koen. It's a while ago. I watched back the episodes this week, so we could make a recap right now of this first season.
You binged the shit out of it, yeah.
Exactly, to freshen up a bit, because
they're,
of course
they're not that long actually, so that's okay.
No, that makes a difference.
Yeah.
And of course, because from next week on, we will dig into Season 2. We will each week watch the episode, make a recap, make a review of the episodes of Season 2. So for the people watching, if you're not subscribed yet, subscribe to our channel to get updated on those episodes and everything Mandalorian. Koen, Season 1 of The Mandalorian, what do you remember? How long ago is it that you have seen it?
So I watched almost four of them this week still. So it came back a bit to me, thank God. But before, I think, I watched them exactly when they came out. So it was, for me, like the day after they came out, I tried to watch them immediately. Actually, the thing that sticks the most to me was that I really hated it, that it was so short, some of the episodes.
Yeah,
because it's...
Though I have to say, in my memory, they were shorter, because some of the episodes were just 30 minutes, but some were almost close to 50 minutes, which is not...
That's true, but no, that's true. The thing is that, for me, I like the scenery was amazing from the whole season. It was, if you're a Star Wars fan, even if you're not a Star Wars fan, it was nice. But if you're a Star Wars fan, you felt like coming home. So they really, Jon Favreau really, Favreau, you say, no?
Favreau.
Yeah, Favreau, yeah. He did an amazing job in making you feel home as a Star Wars fan, I think.
Yeah.
Which is without like being too much of a fanboy or whatever. It was, that was impressive for me.
No, it was good. It was not too much fan service. There was fan service in there, but very subtle. There were some lines put in there that I recognized from, for example, Solo and other Star Wars movies. But the fan service, well, there was one episode, of course, episode 5, I think, where they went to Tatooine. Well, that was quite,
of course,
fan service, but it was subtle for my.
Yeah, but also there, it wasn't too much like put on top, like in your face. It was subtly done. I think the Baby Yoda was a huge surprise, of course.
Yes.
That was a very good one, and I'm still very curious what they're gonna do with this second season. If we know if we're gonna get a name first of all besides Baby Yoda. No, so for me the main thing was it had all the elements I think that I would like to see in a series of Star Wars. That's why also it made me even more curious into the story and the show of with Ian McGregor of Obi-Wan Kenobi. Yeah, and so because that story for me, I think there's a lot of depth there. And here, of course, we didn't know.
And the interesting thing with that one is that some of the best episodes of this series were directed by Deborah Chow, and she will be the director of the complete Obi-Wan series.
I heard.
So that's interesting. But Koen, let's dig in now to that recap of Season 1, refresh our minds a bit. I made a recap of each episode, so after each episode we can talk a bit about it. So let's start that recap right now.
It is good to restore the natural order of things. Don't you agree?
All right, Koen, so recap Mandalorian Season 1. Let's start with the first episode. In this first episode, we see the Mandalorian taking in a blue alien who is of the Mithril species. He takes him to his ship, and they barely manage to escape the jaws of a large sea creature named Ravinak. But they manage and get off the planet. In space, Mando locks up the Mithril in carbonite. Well, because this Mithril was snooping around a bit in the ship. He locks him up in carbonite, just like some other unlucky fellows that came before him. With the carbonated acid, he flies to a planet. The planet is called Navarro, where he meets with the leader of the Bounty Guild. His name is Greef Karga. He collects his bounty and asks for a new job. Karga has a very dangerous and secretive job for him, which Mando accepts. So then Mando meets up with the client, some old dude with an Austrian accent for some reason. And
it's very straight to the Star Wars era,
and a certain Dr. Pershing. The client tells him that if he brings in the asset alive or with proof of termination, that he will receive a large portion of Beskar. He then meets up with a Mandalorian woman named the Armorer, who makes for him a new shoulder plate, which he pays for with the down payment of Beskar. During this process, Mando has flashbacks to the moment he seemingly lost his parents as a child in the war. Afterwards, Mando leaves the planet and starts his pursuit of the asset, which leads him to a rocky planet where he runs into a Aknaut, who we later find out is named Quill. The Aknaut decides to help him. He has spoken. And after some talks and training in blurk riding, they together ride to a small settlement that is guarded by invaders of the planet. It's heavily guarded, but with the help of a IG unit, they manage to defeat the invaders and find the asset. This asset doesn't seem 50 years old like the client told Mando, but this aging process works probably a bit different. But yeah, in this little crypt egg lays a little green wrinkled creature of a species we have seen before in Star Wars. It is Baby Yoda.
Yes. Super Jedi.
Who was never named Baby Yoda, of course, but the internet quickly came up with the name of him, Baby Yoda.
Huge thing, yeah.
That's a short recap for episode 1. Koen, what did you think of this first episode, the first introduction to this Mandalorian world?
Yeah, it had a lot of because Star Wars was serious, like the all of the movies, but it always had the fun side, you know. Of course, the famous scenes in the bars and weird animals and whatever. And now, for me, I really enjoyed that scene on the ice where that monster took out almost the plane or the spaceship, and that was very funny. It was nice to see the Carbonite again, of course. After when I was young, that made a huge impression. The Han Solo,
yeah, definitely,
especially like really lost in that Carbonite.
Yeah.
So that was nice to see because now you finally see like a bounty hunter actually doing it. Visuals, CGI, very impressive. I liked Nick Nolte's character. What was the name again of him?
The creature is an Aknaut, and his name was Quill.
Oh, Quill, exactly. Yeah, the Aknaut. Yeah, and also his weird kind of animals that he uses as horses are funny, of course. That he rides.
The blurks.
The blurks, and the robot for me was very funny and nice. And it was played, of course, by that famous director, Taika Waititi. Yeah. So, very impressive. The sounds were very good. Like I said already, the soundtrack is very impressive. So, for me, I was immediately hooked when I saw this.
Yeah, me too. You get right away sucked into this world. I think the world building is really good. I really like the time frame where this takes place, which is of course more or less 5 years after Return of the Jedi, and it's very cool to see what happened to this world. Not only in this episode, but through the whole season, you see how the Empire is in decline, so to say. And
that was very cool to see, like with Greef Karga, with that character to see. So there is still some high up chiefs and like some generals, whatever, because it looks like a general from the army back in the day. And it looks like they're hiding, and it's really like scheming. So that was also very interesting. Yeah,
you right away get sucked into this world, and the music, like you said, was very, very great. Yeah,
very cool.
It really got its own atmosphere, so to say. Because in the beginning, I was a bit afraid, like, okay, he's clearly not going the John Williams route. But I think that was a good choice for this, because he really created a unique sound, which is still a Star Wars sound, weirdly enough.
Yeah, but imagine if you're because I'm a musician, but I'm not a composer, so I can understand a bit how difficult how it is to be a composer. But if especially for music, for a series or for a movie, imagine that you have to create something that is similar. It makes it welcomes people from Star Wars, but it's not the same. It's very impressive.
Yeah, definitely.
Very difficult. No.
Definitely. Okay, that was episode 1. Koen, we're gonna dive into episode 2. Here we go. So, in the second episode, Mando finds out that he is not the only one who is after Baby Yoda, as he gets attacked by a bunch of Trandoshans. He fights them off, but gets injured on his arm. Baby Yoda walks up to him several times, but he each time gets put into his little crib. But he wants to pull out his hand, so we get a first hand here of maybe him having some force abilities, as he tries to heal the arm, Jedi style, but each time before he can do this, Mando puts him back in his crib.
That's also nice, yeah.
Funny scene. So when they arrive back at Mando's ship, the Razor Crest, it's taken apart by Jawas. He goes after them, but the Jawas manage to escape in their sandcrawler. Mando goes to the Aknat for help, and together they make a deal with the Jawas. Mando will get the parts for his ship back in exchange for an egg. In order to get the egg, Mando must cut it out of the belly of a mudhorn. While trying to do this, he almost dies, but at the last moment, Baby Yoda saves him by force freezing the mudhorn, giving Mando the chance to kill the mudhorn and get its egg. And then afterwards, Baby Yoda collapses.
Yes.
So Mando goes back to the Jawas. He gives them the egg. And in exchange for this, as promised, they give him the parts of his ship back. So he's ready to leave the planet together with Baby Yoda. Quill stays behind, even though Mando asked him to come with him. But Quill decides to stay behind. And then at the very end of this episode, we see Baby Yoda waking up. So there we have it. Episode 2. What did you think of this one?
Yeah, it's my favorite episode, I think, because I was always in love with the Jawas. I really, those are the best characters I think Star Wars ever made, besides Chewbacca maybe. But their voices, every time I'm laughing when I see these guys appear somewhere, and they're a bunch of very annoying little creatures that steal everything possible, and it's like.
Did you ever fantasize or imagine how they might look like?
I have no clue.
Nee.
I was always thinking, and also because you see only that red, those big red eyes that look a bit like robot eyes, to be honest.
Yeah, but the funny thing is, I think in the original they have yellow eyes, don't they?
I think in the first movie, when Luke Skywalker picks up the robots from them, he buys the robots. I think so, yeah. Although I see in portrayings that I check online now in the books that they also have red eyes, actually. So yeah, it's but there is no details about them for the rest, no. Besides that they live on Tatooine.
And I'm not sure what the source of it is, but there is apparently, and I can show it to you now. Like if you look over here, what the Jawas look like. Apparently, this is here to the right is what. Yeah, they have some kind of red kind of face. I never imagined this. But
it look even worse. Nice.
Yeah. I always
evil creatures.
They really look like evil creatures. Yeah, my whole image of the Jawa changed after I've seen
what
this.
The fuck? But I think we can honestly say that minions from other famous movies are directly stolen from these guys.
Well, yeah, that's exactly what my girlfriend actually said. She said also they sound exactly like me.
Exactly.
They also reminded me a bit of Gremlins, actually.
Also that, of course. Also, epic movies were that. But
yeah.
No, for me it was a very cool episode. The visuals again with that big mudhorn were very impressive, and finally we got to see. Because the thing is, actually, if you talk about it, also watch them now. They weren't long, the episodes, but somehow I already feel I'm way further in the season because you were already so involved with Baby Yoda, thinking like, does she have the power or not? The Force, you know.
No, but that's the thing. I think also, like with some series, they feel very long. I think that's also the case with this series. They also feel very short because there's quite some things happening. There's not so much. There's not so much dead time in each episode. So
no. Definitely. It's always something happening. That's true. Yeah. Also because they don't choose for very long monologues or whatever or dialogue. Yeah. No, but for me, the Jawas are always awesome. That scene that he has to go back on that ship, how he. And they try to make him fall off. They throw things at him. It was very funny, of course.
Yeah.
And we see Yoda having the Force, which is awesome. We see Jawas, which are awesome. So good episode. No.
Yeah.
You?
Yeah, I also liked it. It is funny because there's the least that happens in it. For that matter, if you also look at the recaps, this is my shortest recap. Because there's actually not that much happening in it. It's just like, okay, you have to get this egg and to get your parts to fly off again. So it's in that way a bit of an in-between episode. Of course, we see him using the Force, which is super cool. Mm-hmm. And that makes this episode, I think, extremely cool. And that we see the Jawas is cool. So so I liked it. but when it comes to being eventful and pushing the plot forward, so to say, I think this was what there was least happening in the episode.
It's a very in between episode. If you think
exactly.
about it. Yeah, it was like, okay, I gotta fix my ship, guys. Normally, you skip them through it, but they made it somehow a connection. Okay, but he has to fight the motor to get the egg. Yeah.
So no, it was a fun episode for sure. Then let's go into episode 3. So in the third episode, Mando and Baby Yoda arrive back at the client's office, and he hands over Baby Yoda. The client explains to Mando that this asset is extremely important to him, and that this is why he put a lot of hunters on it. He's very pleased receiving the asset and pays Mando with a whole lot of Beskar. With the Beskar, Mando goes back to the armorer to get himself some new armor and a new weapon. He gets into a fight with one of the other present Mandalorians who's angry with him doing business with the Empire.
Yeah.
Because it was, of course, the Empire that destroyed their world, Mandalore. The armorer stops the fight. We get to see a bit more of Mando's flashback. We see now how when his parents hit him in the head, shortly after it got opened by a hostile droid ready to shoot him. Afterwards, Mando is just about to leave the planet as he has a change of heart. He goes back to the client's building, and with some kind of listening device, he hears the client and the doctor talking about that the doctor has to extract the material out of the asset no matter what. The doctor answers him saying he explicitly ordered him to take it back alive. No, we don't know at that point yet who he is, and maybe we still don't know that, but that's an interesting line there.
Yeah.
So next, Mando gets into the building and manages, after fighting a whole lot of stormtroopers, to reach the doctor and take Baby Yoda back. A moment later, we see how everybody in the bar receives a new assignment, so it seems. The hunt for Mando has started.
He's fucked up.
Very much John Wick style scene to me, this.
Yeah.
Mando walks through the city on his way back to his ship, but gets surrounded by bounty hunters and in the end stopped by Greef Karga. A huge fight starts, and in the end, Mando gets saved by his fellow Mandalorians who appear with their jetpacks out of the sky.
Awesome.
Mando, very nice. Mando enters his ship, ready to leave as Greef Karga arrives, holding him under gunshot. Mando creates a distraction, shoots Karga, and leaves the planet. But Karga survives the shot because of a piece of Beskar in his jacket. So that was the third episode of The Mandalorian. One of my favorites, actually, for you, Koen.
Yeah, the fight was really cool. It was nicely done that you really think he has no way out. What the fuck is going to happen? And then in the end, his brothers and sisters actually of the guild, not the guild of the Mandalorian, who they come to save him. That was very cool, especially when they show up with those fucking jetpacks or whatever. Those are awesome.
That was very cool. And we never seen that, I think. We saw, of course, Boba Fett with his jetpack, but never like a whole bunch. Like you see this a lot actually in the animated series. You see a lot of this action. It's very cool, and I think it's cool they pulled it off to make it
nice.
Work and look nice also.
Exactly. And I always thought in this episode he's never gonna leave Baby Yoda to his up to his face. I've always thought he's gonna save him or her, but it's him, no?
Yeah.
Oh, I still think it's a her. I don't know why.
No,
so the thing is that if I think of this episode again, I'm thinking that we still don't know anything about who is that him that wants him alive.
No, it could be, of course, just Moff Gideon.
Yeah, that's the easiest part, of course.
Yeah.
But also what they want to extract, like they cannot extract the how do you call it, the particles for the Force. Yeah, I don't know what the name is, but so you cannot extract the Force out of someone, I think. So we still don't have answers on those two things, actually, which is quite interesting that you have the whole season. Yeah, exactly. But you still don't know it. So that's interesting in a way. But no, cool. First of all, cool to see Greef Karga again. Yeah, Greef Karga in the end is like, betraying him, but also, if you also understand his side of the point, of course, like, it's his job, he's a bounty hunter, and they live by a rule. If you go over that line,
it's exactly like I said. It's just like John Wick, excommunicado.
Yeah, and also that scene is like it wasn't a hotel room like in John Wick, but
No, it was almost
funny.
exactly. They must have taken it from John Wick. Must be.
Yeah. That was cool. It was nice. No, a very cool episode. It's nice.
Yeah, I also liked it. So this was the first one that Deborah Chow directed, and I think it's really cool. She did a really good job. It was almost like a movie when it comes to the action and everything. Where the first 2 episodes were maybe a bit more series-like. Was this really had almost the quality of a short movie to my sake. No, I really loved seeing the Mandalorians show up. No, I think this was a very well constructed and build-up episode for that matter. Yeah,
I agree.
All right, then we move into the 4th episode. This episode starts on a green lush planet named Sorgan. A village that gets attacked by creatures called raiders. Well, who look some like some kind of Lord of the Rings Uruk-hai, I thought.
Exactly, yeah.
But they're called raiders, not Uruk-hai. So next we see Mando arriving at the planet, looking for a place to hide away for a couple of months after the events in episode 3. In the bar of a small nomadic village, he meets ex-shock trooper Cara Dune. The presence of Cara Dune makes that he wants to go look for a different planet to stay. As 2 villagers come walking up to him asking for his help. They need help against the raiders and have money for him to help them. Mando agrees once he finds out that the farmers live in the middle of nowhere. So that seems to him like a good place to stay. Mando gets Cara Dune to help him with chasing the raiders away, and together they train the villagers for a fight with those raiders. In the meantime, Mando gets somewhat romantically involved. I had the feeling with
definitely. Yeah.
With a widower in the village to who he explains that he hasn't taken his helmet off in front of people since he was a child. This is the way, he says. Once the villagers are trained, they lure the raiders enter ATST to the village where they set up a trap for them. They manage to take down the walker, and the remaining raiders flee into the forest. When peace has returned, Mando decides that he must leave the planet as the shooting probably gained some attention. He will go and leave Baby Yoda with the villagers to live a happy childhood. But when another bounty hunter shows up, nearly killing Baby Yoda, to last minute gets killed himself by Cara Dune, the Mando realizes that this place is not safe for Baby Yoda either, and they leave together. So that was episode 4 of The Mandalorian. Koen, your thoughts on this episode?
I'm only thinking of the teacup that was being drunk by Baby Yoda, when she was inside of the thing. It was really epic, but
and he also had another frog moment, I think, for the second time.
Oh, exactly. Holy shit, yeah, disgusting. Yeah, so this was not my most favorite episode. No. It wasn't bad, but it was a bit boring, I felt.
Yeah, there was not so much for the bigger story.
Yeah, also there. You don't know who these people are. The Raiders also, the ATST was very cool to see again, of course. The character Cara Dune, that was nice. Gina Carano was interesting. Also, we know, of course, later that we see her more, and she's also second season. That was cool. The introduction of her. You didn't know immediately what the connection was between these two. And you really thought he would take his helmet off for her, for the other the lady he was romantically involved with. So, yeah, it had some parts in it, but overall it was a bit, I think, a bit of a weak episode compared to the rest. It was
compared to the rest. Really, I agree. I think it was not a bad episode, but compared to the rest,
no, it wasn't. But yeah, it didn't make sense for the story. Also, if you think about it, then the way he left it, of course, was that he started to have maybe some kind of like father feelings, or at least more caring feelings about Baby Yoda, that he cannot leave her. So that was cool in a way.
There was some character work,
Yeah, but that's about it for me, I think. No.
I found it a funny moment in this episode. I found it funny that they had this whole conversation about he not taking his helmet off since he was a child. He had this conversation with the widower. And then the widower gets out of the cabin, or the hut, so to say. And there's a big open window. What does he do? He takes his helmet off to eat. Like, everybody can look into this hut. It's like,
that was, I think, it was on purpose. I think it was like they had some fun with it. I think, I don't know. It was strange.
Yeah, I don't know, but it did, for the story, it didn't make any sense to me. I don't know, because he's so.
It was so epic. I don't take it since I was a child. And I'm like. He's eating his little thing, his little bowl of food. Yeah, that was strange. Yeah.
So yeah, fun episode. Some character work in it. There was also some Easter eggs in here. There was a loaf cat. You know the loaf cat because it's from the animated series. But there was a loaf cat in the bar where they went in.
Okay.
So it was some, and I think they were also drinking blue milk over here, which is of course what Luke Skywalker drinks at the farm in the beginning of New Hope.
Disgusting. Yeah.
And well, apparently it's not disgusting. It's supposed to because you have Disneyland parks now, of course, that have Star Wars Land, and there they sell blue milk, and apparently it's some pineapple kind of flavor that is to it.
Okay, that sounds weird. Nice.
Yeah. So yeah, that was episode 4. I agree, especially after the very strong episode 3. I think this was a bit of a bit less good.
Yeah, a little bit less. Yeah.
All right, then we move into episode 5. In episode 5, Mando finds his way to Tatooine, a planet we all know, of course. And I have it here on my shirt. He finds his way to Mos Eisley.
Cool shirt, nice.
Exactly. Here he visits the cantina that we know from A New Hope, of course. Mm-hmm. And he meets with a young kid named Toro Calican, who is on his first bounty hunting job. We meet this guy sitting in the booth where we, of course, also met Han Solo for the first time. The kid is looking for Fennec Shand, elite mercenary. Toro convinces Mando to help him in exchange for the full bounty. On their speeder bikes, they drive into the Dune Sea, and at one point they get shot at by Fennec Shand. They wait the night out and then drive up to Fennec, and after some fighting, they manage to capture her. But during that fight, one of the speeder bikes gets broken down, so Mando goes looking for Dewback to get them back to Mos Eisley. The Dewback is that creature where they ride on. While Mando is away, Fennec tries to influence Toro to release her. She tells him that Mando is a much bigger prize to the guild than she is. It would bring him fortune and fame. It seems like Toro will uncuff Fennec, but decides then to shoot her instead. And he heads back to Mos Eisley to go find baby Yoda. When Mando also arrives back here, they get into a fight and Mando kills Toro. Mando pays the mechanic who fixed the ship and gets off the planet.
And took care of Yoda,
Yeah. At the end of the episode, we see a mysterious figure walking up to the body of Fennec. And this is one that's still a lot of speculating on. So that was episode 5 of The Mandalorian. Let's start with the end shot, Koen. A lot of rumors, of course, are that this probably is Boba Fett himself because of what he has on his boots, which makes a wrinkling sound. Okay. And that would be a hint that it's actually Boba Fett. Could also, of course, just be, again, just Moff Gideon, but...
I thought always it was Moff Gideon, to be honest, but now you say it can also be the introduction already of Boba Fett, exactly,
Yeah, especially now that we know, of course, that he probably will show up in the second season. Yeah, but in general, this episode...
Also not that good, to be honest, to me, or a little bit boring also. Yeah, I don't know. That scene in the dunes was a bit boring for me. Because also you couldn't really relate to that woman they had to catch, that other bounty hunter, of course, because we didn't know anything about her. And
she was quite badass, I think. But
you felt like she was someone. Of course, also like she had like very good sniper skills. You knew it was someone that really they had to deal with, but that was pretty impressive. But no, it was a bit like that lady, of course, that took care of the ship, also took care of Yoda. And a bit overall also not super episode, I will say that.
No, I remember that I liked it a lot. But it was maybe not for the story. It was maybe mostly because I really loved going back to Tatooine for the
the vibe was good again.
The first time. I liked only when he arrived back there walking through the village and then seeing the cantina, which was of course fun. Yeah. That there was a droid behind the bar because in A New Hope, droids were not allowed in the bar, and now there was a droid standing behind it. So that shows something about the new mindset of this.
What would change in this area, exactly? Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. And so those things I liked. I liked Yeah, so that's what I mostly liked about this episode, seeing Tatooine again. And I know by that I was already very excited because I really love Tatooine. So
I remember the first time I saw it, I was very excited. Also, I was thinking, where is this going to go? He's going to go with this weird guy that he's just like, they're going to go together with those speeders into the dunes. Okay, they have to catch this woman, and then it goes wrong. It was happening, but the moment it was ending, I was like, wow. But then you saw, of course, that shadow again of a person that we still don't know who it is. Was again, it was not bad, but if I think about it now, it could have been more exciting somehow. It was also a bit, like a little bit in between again, I felt.
Yeah, of course, again, here was character work done for the Mandalorian about his fatherhood, more or less, for this creature. But there were a lot of people complaining about that this was more or less filler episodes in a short season of 8 episodes with, quite short episodes. They felt a bit let down by that. I did enjoy it enough to not feel let down, but I did feel like, okay, come on, push it forward. I want to see what happens to Baby Yoda.
Yeah, exactly. I remember that I was left a bit annoyed after this episode. I was thinking like, okay, but what's gonna happen? What we see more?
Exactly. Yeah. But overall, enjoyable episode at least, as I think all of them are.
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
Okay, then we move into episode 6. So episode 6 starts in some kind of space station where Mando meets with an old acquaintance of his named Ren, with an A, not with an E, for the people that thinks that there's a connection there. And this guy has a job for him. He needs to get a prisoner freed from a new Republican space station. To do this, Mando will join a crew led by Mayfield. Other members of the crew are a droid named Zero, a Deferonian named Burke, and a Twi'lek named Sion, who Mando seems to have some former connection with, some maybe even romantic, as it is hinted at. After a bumpy ride, they arrive at the station, enter it, and after Mando destroyed a bunch of guard droids, they get to the control room, where Officer threatens to send out a distress signal, getting the New Republican fleet for backup. A short stand down ends with Sion shooting the officer, but it didn't prevent the signal to be sent out. They now only have 20 minutes to find the prisoner and get out of the station. They rush to the cell block and free the prisoner, which is a Twi'lek named Quinn, and he is the brother of Sion. They free Quinn, but instead lock Mando up in the prison cell and start hurrying back to the station. Mando manages to free himself and shuts down all the power on the station and starts taking the crew down one by one and putting them in one of the prison cells. In the end, he manages to get back to the Razor Crest and takes Quinn with him to the space station of his old acquaintance, Ren. After he collected his bounty, here he flies off, and Ren orders to shoot and kill Mando when Quinn finds the Republican tracking device. Just a moment later, 3 Republican ships show up, destroying the space station. Mando and Baby Yoda then fly off. That was the 6th episode of The Mandalorian. Koen, what did you think of this one?
Yeah, already better again. They pick up with more action, excitement. I had from the start already some doubts that the people that they had to go with to the prison ship were up to good things. Mm-hmm. Very cool. See also a prison ship, with robots and whatever on board that just flies through the galaxy. Good. Nice to see Bill Burr also, of course, in the episode. Always a big fan of him, but it was a fun episode. Nice, good action. Also, there was a lot of.
Again, of course, it was a bit of a side mission, and that's of course a complaint some people have. Like the other ones also.
That's a bit. That's the setup. The whole show felt
that's the setup
like that.
Yeah.
But that's also like it's also like he's a bounty hunter in the end, So for him, all these kind of missions make sense. Yeah. And also, he's a little bit. It reminded me a lot of Solo. Also, he also has this life of going from one like weird stuff into another adventure and everything. So that was cool in a way. But of course, they set up so high. They raised the bar so high with having a Yoda in there.
Yeah, exactly.
That you wanted to know. I think that's actually the plus side and the downside.
Exactly.
Show in a way, So now for me it was. I felt the tension also. Like, are they gonna be on time before the other guys show up? Is he gonna escape the ship on time? So very, very fun watch. Nice episode to watch.
Yeah, it's like you said, what I really liked with this episode is that you got to see more, what I said in the beginning already, that it's fun to see how the world looks like, what the world looks like 5 years after Return of the Jedi. And I really liked that you saw now, the New Republicans, as it is called, the New Republic.
Yeah.
And you saw the ship, you saw the outfit of that officer in that office, which is very different than what we saw in the original trilogy. So you see like, okay, their style changed. It's still somewhat the same. Still this old-fashioned, a bit 70s style outfits, so to say.
A bit weird 70s, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But slightly different. I really liked seeing those guard droids, the Republican guard droids, which looked really cool to me.
Yeah.
So that was all kinds of cool stuff. I think in this episode they also made a little remark about that. Well, the Republicans, New Republic, that's not something to really count on because they're quite not so powerful, and I think that's because that's something they touch on in the books. Why the First Order could rise is because the New Republic was very pacifist and they were just got lost in their democratics or their talking, so to say. And in the end, that's how a new power could rise. Yeah. I think that's also they had some lines that hinted at that you shouldn't count on the Republicans for help because they're just pacifists. But
also makes sense in a way, like to come from those heavy, creepy overrulers.
Yeah.
Under Palpatine, of course, that whole system got broken down, and then I think they just want peace and quiet. They don't want.
Yeah, but by that the galaxy got a bit shattered, so to say, and
Yeah, of course there was no. Yeah, I think they. In their good way of thinking, like they just want peace and quiet, they let the how do you call it? They let things slide. I think too much.
Yeah, exactly. So I found those kind of things fun, that you really get a feel of the time frame and how it looks like now, cool, and that was very cool. Mm-hmm. That was to me the coolest thing. One little thing. Do you know who those 3 pilots were at the end? The Republicans that shot the station.
No.
I will show. I will get them back on the screen now. This guy is the director of 2 of the episodes. His name is Rick Fuyama, if I pronounce it correct. This woman.
Famuyiwa, I think.
Yeah, that's this woman is the Deborah Chow, the other director of 2 of the episodes.
Oh, cool! I never knew this.
And this guy is Dave Filoni himself. Who is also the director of 2 of the episodes, and who is the driving force together with Jon Favreau behind the series and all the animated stuff. So I've been watching them. Yeah, it's very cool. Nice. I've been watching the making of the Mandalorian. There, Jon Favreau really wanted this, and of course they all, as directors, they didn't feel much need to be in front of the camera, but in the end, Jon Favreau forced them more or less. So that was quite funny.
Oh, it's awesome! It's nice to have a cameo like this. Yeah.
So no, I think this was a fun episode.
Yeah, definitely.
Already a bit more happening than with the other one, the previous ones. But now we're getting into the 7th episode, and that's of course when it really ramps up.
Shit hits the fan. Yes.
Shit hits the van. So in this 7th episode, Mando receives a message from Greef Karga. He asks for Mando's help against the Imperials that terrorize Navarro. He asks Mando to use the child as bait to get close to the client and kill him. If Mando succeeds, he can keep the child and his name will be cleared. When they are on their way to Navarro, Mando gets Cara Dune and the Aknat Quill to join him to the planet. Quill agrees on joining on the condition of taking the Blurks and IG-11 with him. IG-11, who was of course shot in the first episode by Mando, he has now been repaired by Quill and reconditioned by him, and the droid is now programmed to nurture and protect. Mando doesn't want the droid with them because of bad experiences in the past, but in the end he agrees. When they are on their way to Navarro, Mando has a game of arm wrestling with Cara Dune. Baby Yoda interferes with I love this scene. Interferes with their game by nearly force choking Cara Dune. This is clearly no ordinary baby. At Navarro, they are welcomed by Greef Karga and 3 bounty hunters. They leave for the city, but at night they get attacked by huge creatures from the sky that take one of the Blurks with them and injure Greef Karga. They fight him off, but Karga, his arm is damaged and the potion is spreading. But Baby Yoda walks up to him and with the use of the Force, heals him.
Yes.
So this results in Greef Karga changing his original plan of killing Mando and taking the baby. He shoots the 3 other bounty hunters and goes with them and an empty crib egg to the city, while Quill heads back with Baby Yoda to the Razor Crest. They fake cuff Mando and take him to the client at the safe house. The client wants to see the baby, but gets disturbed by a call from a certain Moff Gideon, who we for the first time hear about here. A moment later, the place starts getting shot at and the client goes down. Outside, a whole squad of Death and stormtroopers surround the place. A TIE fighter arrives and out of it steps Moff Gideon. He wants the baby. He means more to him than they will ever know, he tells them. Mando asks Quill through the comm if he already made it back to the ship. He has not, and the message gets picked up by 2 stormtroopers who go after Quill and the baby. Quill almost makes it back to the ship, but in the end gets shot dead. The stormtroopers leave with the baby. Yeah. That was quite an episode.
Poor Quill. Yeah.
Right? That was quite heartbreaking, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was heartbreaking because he was a cool character, yeah.
Yeah.
He was just a good guy, doing very loyal. And no, good episode. It was very interesting. The introduction to Moff Gideon was very cool. Like it also the suit looked a bit like Darth Vader with the black and also the black armor there. No, it's very cool. But we still don't know what happened to the clients.
We do know actually, because you have been saying in our previous videos that he's alive, but he gets shot here.
Oh really?
Yeah, he gets shot here.
Oh, sorry.
Whoa. that was that much of a shock, huh?
Oh, but this shit! Oh, the ways they could have used his voice for everything. Wow.
His voice is awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome. So we know what happened to the client.
He got shot. Yeah, it might be that he survived, but I don't think so because the whole place later on gets set on fire. I think so. Even if he survived,
I don't remember. I don't have it sharp in my mind what happened to the doctor.
The doctor survived. Mando let him live.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah. No, very interesting episode. Fun to watch. Very sad to see Quill die. And of course, in this moment in the season, you're thinking, "Oh my God, they have Baby Yoda," because one of the stormtroopers has him, of course. So No,
I also didn't expect Quill to die. Like we talked about before, it is still a children's show. Yeah. And a lot of people, they don't let die. They shoot it, but they don't show you that they died and those kind of things. But here they really killed off this character. I didn't expect that.
Yeah, no, it was surprising. I really thought he would make it or somehow fight off those 2 stormtroopers, of course, on the speeders. Yeah. But surprising. And at this moment, I was really felt like, oh my God, what happens to Baby Yoda at the end of this episode, you know? Yeah. What is his fate now?
Yeah. Quite cool. And of course, I also like the character of Moff Gideon. He looks quite cool. Well, good actor, of course. You know him from Better Call Saul, I think, when he was in
awesome.
there. Yeah, I didn't see that one. But...
Yeah. Oh, you should. Yeah, he's awesome in that show. And also a bad guy, but a very subtle bad guy. And it seems like they use a bit this kind of way also for this. like he's not the in-your-face horrible bad guy. He's more a business type that's more subtle, you know. Like,
I'm very, very curious what his deal will be in season 2 for the matter. Yeah. Okay, let's go on to the season finale, Koen. We see the 2 stormtroopers that took Baby Yoda, that they are taking a little break as IG-11 walks up to them.
Funny, yeah, that's pretty funny.
He kills them and drives with Baby Yoda up to the city. In the city, Moff Gideon is getting an E-Web weapon ready to destroy the building where Mando, Cara Dune, and Greef Karga are in. He seems to know everything about them. He knows that Cara Dune's full name is Cara Cynthia Dune, and that she comes from the planet of Alderaan. He also knows that Mando's real name is Din Djarin, and through flashbacks we learn that Din Djarin doesn't come from the planet of Mandalore, but that he was saved by Mandalorians after his parents got killed and taken into their group. He knows that Moff Gideon was an ISB officer during the Great Purge that killed a lot of Mandalorians and shattered the planet. Moff Gideon gives the three till nightfall to turn themselves in. This makes Mando realize that he doesn't have the baby yet, because otherwise they would be dead already. Mando gets into contact with IG-11, who tells him that Quill has been terminated. IG-11 drives into the city and starts shooting stormtroopers. A big fight starts, which ends in Mando getting heavily injured by Moff Gideon. They retreat into one of the buildings, and after Cara Dune and Greef Karga disappeared underneath the tunnels, IG-11 takes, under protest, the helm of Din Djarin off. Before that, we get this little scene, which was very cool, I think. The flamethrower gets in, and Baby Yoda, full force power, holds the whole flames, awesome. Sea of flames, and destroys it. Was very cool, I think.
Yeah.
But IG-11 helps to get Din Djarin his helmet off. We see his face for the first time. Hello there, Pedro Pascal. This is maybe the thing that he season for him. Yeah. Exactly. So with the help of Bacta spray, he heals Din Djarin, and they also head into the tunnels. In the tunnels, they find a whole pile of Mandalorian helmets as the armorer shows up. She explains that Imperials did this after the Mandalorians has revealed themselves. She says that maybe some survived and escaped off-world. Maybe important for the second season. Mando explains to the armorer that Baby Yoda has special powers. It reminds the armorer of stories of centuries ago about the fight between Mandalore the Great and the order of sorcerers called Jedi, who use these powers. She says that the baby is now Mando's responsibility until he is grown up or reunited with its own kind. This is the way.
Yeah, exactly.
The armorer then gives Mando his signet, putting the Mudhorn signet on his armor. He also receives a jetpack. They leave as the armorer stays behind and later on fights off a whole bunch of stormtroopers, which was quite badass.
Yeah.
Mando, Cara Dune, Greef Karga, IG-11, and Baby Yoda get to an underground lava river where they find a ship that leads them out of the caves. But at the exit, there's a whole battalion of stormtroopers waiting for them. IG-11 knows that there is no scenario of saving the baby and have the IG unit save himself. He sacrifices himself by walking through the lava up to the stormtroopers and activating his self-destruct function.
That you already threatened to use like the whole season.
Yes, exactly, which was quite funny all the time, I think. Yeah.
Like, put it back.
Exactly. So as the others walk out of the tunnel, Moff Gideon attacks them in his TIE fighter. Mando activates his jetpack and manages to crash down the TIE fighter with Moff Gideon in it. All seems good. Cara Dune and Greef Karga decide to stay on Navarro a little longer now that peace has been restored. Mando picks up Baby Yoda and says that he has to go because he has some pressing matters at hand. After he buried Quill, he leaves the planet together with Baby Yoda. At the very end, we see how Moff Gideon cuts his way out of his crashed down ship. He steps out of the ship alive and holding the dark saber. Major teaser for season 2, of course. So that was the finale of The Mandalorian. That was the whole season 1 of The Mandalorian. Koen, what did you think of this finale?
Yeah, maybe the best episode. It was
right.
Yeah, a lot of action. Like, okay, there were no Jawas, but that's the only thing. Then. No, a lot of action, a lot of backstory. Also, again, I really like the character of the I forget the English word. What's the name of the woman Mandalorian that makes all the
armor? Yeah,
the armorer. Sorry, the armorer.
Yeah,
her role is cool. She's like a teacher or like always telling him what to do. And this is the way. Also, the way the voice is very good done.
Yeah,
and they put a lot of echo onto it, but very nice. It's very.
I think we will see her also in season 2 because she survived. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, no. So action is awesome. A lot of elements that the robot sacrifices himself. Was a very epic scene. You also feel even for a robot, you feel, it's funny. Exactly. But of course, we can do that in Star Wars because there are a lot of robots you feel things for, of course.
Exactly. You feel for R2-D2, you feel for C-3PO.
Yeah, all of them. And very interesting. yeah, I don't know. If I because I didn't watch this again. If I hear this now again, I want to watch it like right now. You know, it was such a cool episode.
Yeah, what
And
I
of
also
course,
really liked is that it
yeah.
very much, it was of course directed by Taika Waititi, who we know from Thor Ragnarok, for example, but also the Jojo Rabbit movie.
Yeah.
He has a very specific style of humor. But it worked very well for Star Wars. I think he really hit the nail there when it comes to humor in Star Wars, which sometimes has been done very badly. If you look, for example, at what's his name? The second recent movie.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about that. The only good joke in that was that ship that it turned out to be an iron. That was actually very good, but it didn't fit in the movie at all. But it was a very good joke.
I like that. Well, why can't I think of the name? I find this annoying.
I forgot his name.
The Rise of Skywalker.
I didn't like this Luke Skywalker.
Exactly, The Force Awakens and the one in between. Come on, the one in between. Force Awakens, Rise of Skywalker, and
The Last Jedi.
The Last Jedi. Hoppa, there we have it. God damn.
It was very bad, and also
exactly.
Luke Skywalker being a little bit of a boo-hoo, you know, on the islands.
But that's a conversation for a different time.
Yeah.
No, I really liked the humor in here, especially that scene in the beginning with those two stormtroopers. That was for me classical Star Wars humor.
Exactly, it was very good. That's a small little dialogue and the nice jokes. Yeah, it was good. Yeah.
So I really liked that. And of course, the Darksaber is very cool Easter egg. That's a plot point for the end. Like, why does this guy have the Darksaber? Because if I remember well, the last one who had the Darksaber in the animated series Rebels was Bo-Katan, who is a Mandalorian, the heir of the Mandalorians, so to say. And she will actually show up in season 2, we already know, played by Katie Sackhoff. Mm-hmm. So probably that will be about this Darksaber. How did he get this? And that's interesting.
Yeah.
Some more things that were cool. I found it cool to see the Mandalorian now flying with his jetpack.
Of course,
was quite cool.
Taking down a TIE fighter. That's awesome.
Yeah, some very cool action sequences in this one. Baby Yoda, full power, holding back the fire. Yeah, so there was a lot of cool stuff in this last episode, I think.
Yeah. Also, now that he got his bull of Mudhorn.
Signa. Yeah. You're now. I think she says you're now a clan of 2. So I have the feeling in the future, I think we will see a whole bunch of Mandalorians in the far future, a whole bunch of Mandalorians with a Mudhorn sign. If we ever get far into the future, I think they will play into that.
Cool.
I think
that would be cool. No, awesome episode. It led me only to think like, oh my god, especially when they also revealed the Darksaber, I was like, fucking hell, we have to wait another year for the second season. Like, come on.
Well, in that way, I think it's good that we watch it now, because I didn't watch it back again since then, but now I watched it back again, so I could forget a bit about it, because otherwise I would be thinking all the time, but like, okay, how's this going to continue? But now I did it. Now I'm thinking about it again, and now from next week on we get answers.
Yeah,
so
we have to wait a couple
nice.
days and we can already see it. That's awesome. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's nice.
So yeah, overall this first season, if we recapped it now a bit like this, Koen, what do you think?
Yeah, I would give it at least an 8.5, or maybe let's say an 8.5, because I think it has. They tick a lot of the right boxes for me. Also, I think for most Star Wars fans, they put a lot of cool things in there that you don't know anything about. Like, we don't know who the of Moff Gideon was in the end the real client, or there was someone above him still that wanted what they want to extract from Baby Yoda.
Maybe the Emperor.
Yeah. You know, knowing now the other movies we saw, of course.
Exactly.
I remember that when I saw the episode with the 4, I think it was, with the plane, the prison ship.
6.
Oh, 6, sorry. Yeah, I was very lost, because I thought when the people come that they have to be like, they had only 20 minutes before the Republic game. I was thinking of like stormtroopers and shit, but of course they already were defeated. So it was for me a bit. I had to switch a bit with all these time frames, but. No, very interesting. I cannot wait. I really hope they do exactly what they did in terms of style. The visuals, the CGI is very good, impressive, and the humor has to be kept in it.
Maybe even a bit more. I'm okay with having a bit more.
That scene what you just described from that
Yeah,
with those two stormtroopers in the
yeah.
beginning was of course very funny, and it fits also with Star Wars, you know, and but not too much, you know. If you have funny moments, it's always fun, and it was always fun when Han Solo was always making fun of every stupid animal, whatever, the morons or whatever. So that was very interesting, and I just if they use also now they talk about like taking her to their own planet, and they talk about sorcerers that are Jedi. Yeah, I want to see more. Maybe I even hope if maybe it will come in the third season, but the big war between the Mandalorians, of course, and
I hope to hear. I hope to hear more also about the history that they have. There's a lot to explore. What I hope to see with this new season is maybe sometimes a bit less episodic, like we touched on now with some of the episodes. It's very much a mission episode, and there is some character development. Yeah. I would like to see it maybe all a bit more connected or pushing the plot constantly forward instead of sometimes having this little mission.
I do feel like the more we do these shows on this channel, I feel like it's a bit of a trend for shows that are good. Yeah. That they don't really stick to the red line, you know. And they make it more like really separate episodes. So that's a bit interesting. Yeah. So I fully agree with you. I really hope we see a bit of a difference in that, and also.
I like to compare it with a show like Game of Thrones, which is always moving the plot forward. It's always forward. There's no really little side missions. It's always
maybe it's again. Of course, those things were based on books. Where of course, if you are a good writer, you have to really keep the red line always in your mind. So maybe that's the problem with a lot of shows that we're watching now that are not, because this is also not based on one particular material. Book. You know, it's based on a lot of material. And then you have to create something out of it. That's why also. I think, for instance, with a show that's going to come up now on Amazon, hopefully next year or the year, I think year after, Lord of the Rings, the new series, they have real books. And of course, they have, again, a lot of source material, but I hope they keep that line good. So, let's hope for this next next season, to see next Friday, to see a bit more of this. To have a bit, and not again a mission episode first.
It's again like what we touched on with different series is that the season is a bit too short to do that, I think. Like if you have a 20 episode series, sure, you know, but
no, but that's the thing. Sometimes it felt more like the X-Files, like really one completely different episode than another, you know, like instead of keeping the red line. And then I was thinking, that's why my frustration was there were some episodes only 30 minutes. I'm thinking, why you don't make those 50 and then you add those 20 minutes to make the story go further, you know?
It's a good comparison, actually, X-Files, because those were, I think, 20 episodes or something, and then you had like half of the episodes were missions, so to say, and half of the episodes were pushing the plot forward.
Sometimes, but somehow, because they had so many, you knew, okay, it's gonna go back again to the main story, of course.
There's plenty of time left to also touch on the story. Then, that's true.
I wouldn't recommend to interrupt you once again. Any viewers on our channel, don't watch the X-Files because you're gonna go even more into conspiracy shit and whatever. Because nowadays, really.
That's for sure. Yeah. But it's a bit nitpicking, of course, because I think like what we already talked about, this show has a lot to offer. But if we will want to take it from 8.5 maybe to 10, then that would be where the improvement may be.
Cool. Yeah, and also to see. I'm curious what they do with the dialogues of Pedro Pascal himself. I would also like for him to see a bit more of that. Curious.
Enough to find out, but this was the first season. We got ourselves refreshed. We hope that we got you also refreshed watching this. We will dig into each episode of The Mandalorian from next week on, Koen. We will watch it and then review it not long after. Recap it and give a short reaction to it. Maybe look into some funny Easter eggs, who knows. Let's see what this season has to offer.
We can find. Yeah,
exactly. So if you want to stay updated on our reports on The Mandalorian, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. If you appreciate what we did with this recap, give us a little thumbs up. And let us also know in the comments what you want to see in this second season. We would find it fun to discuss a bit and see your predictions, expectations of this second season of The Mandalorian, so we can speculate a bit before it finally starts next week.
Yes.
All right, Koen. See you then next week or the week after with the first episode of The Mandalorian. Well, I can only end with this is the way.
This is the way.
And may the force be with you.
Exactly. Ciao.
Ciao.